It's 2 a.m. You're exhausted, but your brain? It's replaying that embarrassing thing you said 3 years ago, worrying about tomorrow's meeting, and suddenly wondering if you locked the front door. Here's the thing. This isn't just you being stressed. Scientists have figured out exactly why this happens, and the reason is kind of mind-blowing. Trying to force yourself to stop thinking actually makes it worse, way worse. But once you understand what's really going on, you can actually fix it. Back in 1987, a psychologist did a simple experiment. He told people, don't think about a white bear. That's it. Just avoid thinking about a white bear for a few minutes. Obviously, everyone immediately thought about white bears. But here's the weird part. After the experiment ended, those people thought about white bears way more than people who were never told to avoid the thought in the first place. This is exactly what happens when you're lying in bed at night, telling yourself, stop thinking about work or stop worrying. Your brain hears that as an important task, so it keeps checking. Am I thinking about work? Am I thinking about work? And every time it checks, boom, you're thinking about work again. It's like trying to not think about a song. The moment someone says, don't get Baby Shark stuck in your head, it's already too late. But there's something deeper going on here. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually had a moment to just think? To sit with your feelings and process what happened during your day? If you're like most people, the answer is never. Your day is a constant sprint from one thing to the next. Your boss says something that bothers you during a meeting, but you've got 3 more meetings after that. You get into a small argument with your partner at breakfast, but then you're rushing to work. You see your credit card bill and feel that knot in your stomach, but you close the app and tell yourself you'll think about it later. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain is collecting all of this, every unresolved conversation, every worry you brushed aside, every feeling you didn't have time for. It's like carrying around a backpack that gets heavier throughout the day, except you don't really notice because you're too busy moving. Then you get into bed. The TV goes off, your phone goes down, the room gets quiet. And suddenly, your brain finally has space to breathe. So it does what it's been trying to do all day. It pulls out everything from that backpack and spreads it across your mind. The frustrating part? Your brain thinks it's helping. It genuinely believes this is the perfect time to deal with everything. But here's the problem. By bedtime, the logical, problem-solving part of your brain is already half asleep. You're trying to untangle complex emotions and solve real problems with basically half your brain offline. It's like trying to organize your entire house in the dark. You're moving things around, but you're not actually fixing anything. You're just exhausting yourself. Here's why your brain does this. For thousands of years, humans had simple, concrete dangers. A predator nearby, a storm coming, threats you could see, handle, and move on from. But modern life is completely different. The things that stress us out now, job security, relationship problems, money worries, never fully go away. They're always kind of there, lurking in the background. Your brain keeps trying to solve them the way it would solve there's a tiger nearby, but it can't, because these problems don't have quick, simple solutions. So your brain just keeps scanning, analyzing, worrying, trying to find an answer that will make the threat go away. And here's the cruel part. When you don't sleep well, your brain gets even more anxious and reactive, which leads to more racing thoughts, which leads to less sleep. It's a vicious cycle. So what actually helps when you're lying there at 2 a.m. with your brain going 1,000,000 miles an hour? There's this technique that sounds absolutely ridiculous when you first hear it, but stick with me because the science behind it is actually fascinating. It's called the cognitive shuffle. Here's what you do. Pick any random word with at least 5 or 6 letters. Let's say carpet. Now, going letter by letter, picture random objects that start with each letter. C, cat, camera, castle, cookie. A, airplane, avocado, alligator. R, refrigerator, rocket, rose. Just keep going until you can't think of any more words for that letter, then move to the next one. That's it. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is thinking about more stuff supposed to help me stop thinking? Here's the genius part. Your anxious thoughts have a story. They connect to each other. What if I mess up that presentation leads to my boss will be disappointed, leads to maybe I'm not good at my job, leads to what if I get fired? It builds and builds. But cat, camera, castle, cookie? There's no story there. Your brain can't turn that into a crisis. It's just random noise. And because these thoughts are meaningless and boring, your brain starts to categorize the moment as not important instead of emergency situation. Within a few minutes, most people notice their thoughts getting weirder and more dreamlike, which is actually your brain starting to drift into sleep mode. Studies show this technique can cut your time to fall asleep.
But that's just a Band-Aid.
About
if you want to really solve this, you need to empty that mental closet before bedtime. Here's what works. Earlier in the day, maybe right afternoon, take 15 minutes and write down everything bothering you. Not in a gratitude journal way. Just dump it all out. The annoying coworker, the bill you're worried about, the conversation you're avoiding. Then, for each thing, write down one tiny action you could take. Not the whole solution, just one small step. This is powerful because it transforms vague anxiety into concrete problems. Your brain can file it away as handled, even though you haven't actually solved anything yet. You're basically telling your brain, we've got a plan, we'll deal with this tomorrow. Research shows that people who write a simple to-do list before bed fall asleep significantly faster. Why? Because unfinished business keeps your brain in work mode. Writing it down signals that you've transferred the responsibility to tomorrow you, so tonight you can rest. One more thing most people miss. Sometimes your brain won't quiet down because your body is uncomfortable, and you don't even realize it. Your body temperature needs to drop a couple degrees to fall asleep. If your room is too warm, even slightly, your brain stays more alert. The ideal temperature is 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, which feels almost too cold for most people. Any light, even your alarm clock, tells your brain it might still be daytime. Your brain is incredibly sensitive to this. And here's something weird. People with racing thoughts often have an internal voice going without realizing it, like they're talking to themselves in their head. White noise or pink noise at a moderate volume can actually interrupt this by giving your brain something else to focus on. So here's the bottom line. Your racing thoughts aren't a character flaw. They're not proof that something's wrong with you. They're just your brain doing its job, trying to protect you and process stuff in a world it wasn't designed for. The solution isn't to fight harder, it's to work with how your brain actually works. Deal with stuff during the day so there's less to sort through at night. Use the cognitive shuffle trick when thoughts do pop up. Make your room actually comfortable for sleep. Most importantly, stop treating your thoughts like the enemy. They're just information. Your brain is trying to tell you something needs attention. The goal isn't to silence your mind completely. That's impossible. The goal is to help your brain feel safe enough to relax. You don't have a thinking problem. You have a safety problem. Once your brain knows everything isn't an emergency, it'll finally let you rest.